We're going to start the presentation off tonight with Hawkmoon Resources, the President, CEO, Brandon Haynes.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. I know it's been a long day with Xplor, so I'll be brief. Hawkmoon Resources is a gold exploration company focused in Quebec. Currently, our flagship property is the Wilson. We chose Quebec because there's flow-through shares, regular flow-through shares, and it's the 6th best mining jurisdiction in the world according to the Fraser Institute. I'm the Chief Executive Officer and founder. Thomas Clark is our Vice President, Exploration and Director. He was responsible for finding Bonterra's Gladiator deposit in our neighborhood where our Wilson project is located. That's currently about 1.5 million resource. Clémence Bertrand is our VP of IR and local here in Montreal. And many of you might know Eric Lemieux, who's a analyst as well as strategic advisor on our board. He'll be presenting on Thursday for Hawkmoon. So our property here is located 20 minutes north of Quévillon. We're in that Cadillac break in the Abitibi greenstone belt. A lot of big deposits in that area. This is ours here, right by VR. And we did recently acquire additional claims, which we've called Wilson East. We have completed 3,000 meters of drilling this year, and we did 5,000 meters last year. It's a shear-hosted VMS deposit. It's got a lot of nugget effect in it, and this property was originally acquired from Cartier Resources. There's some of the 2021 drilling that you'll see there. I'm moving through the slides awfully quick because these are available on our website, and you can read about that. I wanted to get to some of the plans for next year that investors would have to look forward to. As you can see, we've had some decent grades, some good mineralization. It's fairly shallow. This kind of system at the Wilson is an interesting one. It's a complex deposit, but it seems to be yielding some overall quality numbers. And our best result was 83.6 grams. So moving forward, we have drill results coming on about 2 weeks from now from this summer's program. And we did 3,000 meters. We were able to follow up on some of the main targets from last year and do some step out. We're averaging about 150 to 200 meters over that course, and we did 10 holes. Yes, we did have one intercept of VG that we saw, as well as chalcopyrite, which is usually host gold. So it's promising. Going forward, what the company intends to do for next year is we're announcing 2 new projects that we own outright. We're going to be bringing on a new geology director to support the team. And the long-term plan for next year is to have a local CEO with Quebec roots succeed myself. The French funds and that are usually more open to locals, and therefore I've got a plan in mind for succeeding with me. As far as the company is going forward, we intend to do some marketing. I'm going to Germany and Switzerland to the roadshow. I'll be bringing in some German buying, and we're going to lift that stock price. Right now, as with all mining companies, we're at our 52-week low at about 2 cents. So there's our option agreement to acquire 100% of Wilson. We're heading into year 3 anniversary, and we're looking to do 4,000 meters. That was our 2022 drilling program budget that we had set. We came in about 500,000 in overall budget for this year. The capital structure is a little bit higher than that. We did issue a bit more shares during the summer, but we're sitting at about shares issued and outstanding about 90 million. So going forward, Hawkmoon Resources will be releasing assays in the next few weeks. We'll be announcing a new director who's a geologist. We're looking local based. We'll be announcing 2 new projects that we own outright, which will give us more continuous work and overall news flow throughout 2023 and 2024. We look to bring on a new CEO who is local and in Quebec, and this should attract funds, Quebec funds that will be able to give us additional capital. We eventually would like to see for Wilson, have it do a resource calculation with the idea that we can shop it around for a transaction with perhaps an Osisko. And that's it in a nutshell. Right now we're selling financing at 3 cents with a full warrant at 5 cents, good for 2 years. And we're just going to do a small $500,000 raise. It's hard dollars, and that's to cover some costs of the marketing and some of the transactions that we intend to do over the next little while. Yes?
Do you have any institutional investors?
That's what we're looking on doing by bringing on a French CEO and acquiring new projects, is give us a bigger market cap and more aggressive stance within the province that will attract those institutions.
I can just explain one thing. Since day one, since the company started, it's been 100% in Quebec. We hired a French-Canadian, she's actually from France, but she's bilingual, so she's the internal IR. We brought on Eric Lemieux as a strategic advisor. So we're trying to have a really strong French presence, and we're still working on doing that. Yes.
Do you still have any more money to continue with it?
Yes, we have flow through that we can use for this winter. We'd like to get back into Wilson and do some more and use that flow through as it expires by December. By spring, we plan to start work on our new projects that we'll announce.
What price is your flow through that?
It's not flow through, it's hard dollar. It's 3 cents.
No, but
Oh, it's done. He's already got the full money.
Yes, we've already got flow through money. We did those at 9 cents. We're selling hard dollars right now at 3 cents with a full warrant at 5.
You're not going to plan to do any more?
Not at this time. No, we're financed for exploration. Obviously, this is a little bit of G&A and working capital. Yeah. So there'll be lots of news flow over the next year, bigger plans, and that will move Hawkmoon forward. And I want to thank you for your time. I won't take up any more, but I am available afterwards. Yes.
I'm just curious. I really believe that once Europe matters.
Yeah.
So maybe you could describe a little bit more about what you might do over there, what you expect.
Sure.
Just a little bit.
I'll be attending and presenting, as well as having a booth at shows in Geneva, Zurich, Frankfurt, and Munich. And it starts at the beginning of November. I'll be there for about 10 days. And I've got a marketing team out of Vancouver called Zim2 Capital. They've sent me up with funds and German investors. Generally, Vancouver guys will charge a premium to get those introductions. But by going directly to these conferences, I can meet these gentlemen or these groups for free. And that cuts back on costs. My plan is to network with them, show them the forward-looking information of what we're planning on doing in the next year or so. And from there, see if we can get some checks written. At these levels, I have a feeling they're going to follow up with us. Already they're ahead with the exchange rate. And at 3 cents, you know, they see a good buy when they know it. So I do have a subscriptions agreement here if anybody wants to participate at these levels. And I'm around afterwards to answer any questions. I have my card back there as well as a one-pager in English and French.
Are you quoted on the Frankfurt yet?
We are on the Frankfurt, yes. It's 966. We're also on the OTCQB. And we just signed up with Emerging Growth. Our geologist, Thomas Clark, has been doing rounds of interviews, and he's at the conference to speak.
And you all get a copy of it.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea what's your overall drain cost per meter?
Yes. We're using Fulberry Fills, who's a local driller, and we've used them for every campaign. They're $99 a meter. Overall costs $150. So low cost drilling. And because the system is VMS and shear hosted, it tends to be closer to surface. So you're not really going down deeper than 200 meters. So you can get a lot of holes per buck. Yeah, it's good value.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
There are one page on the back table where you put your business card in, participate in the draw. So you can take out those, they're good handy one pagers.
And again, we'd like to thank Brendan for the wine tonight. Thank you, Brendan.
Thanks, Brandon.
What do I do?
Our next presentation will be Judy Baker. Judy's been in the mining business for a while.
Okay.
Presenting tonight Argo Gold. Judy,
Oh, okay. So I'm going to be in the square?
stay in the square and you'll be fine.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, that's the, okay, perfect. So maybe I'll give people standing in the in the foyer. Do you guys want to have seats?
There you go.
It's worth it. Come on, don't be shy. Perfect. People have been, few more? No?
They can hear you, Judy.
They can hear me?
Yeah, you got that.
I can get everybody? Okay. So first of all, thank you very much for coming out. I know time is at a premium for everybody, and I know people have a lot of investment opportunities and there's out there. So I appreciate your time to come out and see Hawkmoon, Argo, and Heritage today. Also, Brendan Hayes, great presentation. I'll buy some shares of Hawkmoon. And the wine is fantastic. Thanks to Hawkmoon for sponsoring. Really good. Oh, I have to stay in the square. Okay. Okay, so Argo. Okay, so what's the oil and gas opportunity? So the mystery. Okay, so forward-looking statements. Argo is a publicly traded company, Canadian Stock Exchange, OTCQB, and Frankfurt, Stuttgart, and Berlin. Okay, so I'm just trying to think if this is, okay, so January 3rd, I kind of sat back at my desk after the vacation and kind of, I just looked at Argo Gold and I'm like, this company looks broken. I just don't have the market interest. We worked really hard to pick up high-grade gold projects to do exploration, and we just didn't seem to be getting the traction that I was looking for. So I kind of had an open mind, and January 4th, Copper Lake Resources puts out a press release with some good high-grade numbers at their Marshall Lake deposit up near the Beardmore Geraldton area. And I'm like, wow, this looks good. Looked around, and there was a lot of Marshall Lake volcanogenic sequence not staked. And they're pulling up to like 8% copper equivalents, and they've got some really good high grade. Their intercepts right now, they're kind of a couple meters, so they don't have the big, kind of diamond fields intercepts at this point. But certainly they've got grade. It is a more structurally complex environment. And so Argo was happy to pick up 50 square kilometers of Marshall Lake volcanic sequence around them. And Copper Lake has continued to progress and put out good drill results. So that's the first thing Argo did. But still, kind of, what am I going to do with Argo? So as watching oil prices go from $80 to $88 in January, but it wasn't until I was filling up my car with gas. And in Toronto, you have to hold the pump. You're not allowed to put the clicker on. So you have to stand in the cold, and then you watch the going ching, 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 ching. And of course, I'm going, this is ridiculous. I said, we don't need to be paying these prices for oil and gas. There's tons of oil and gas in the world. So with that, kind of the lights on, but then how do you execute? So a week later, I see this press release that Crescent Point is selling $500 million worth of non-core assets. So the first thing it says to me was, how do you know you're going to get $500 million for non-core assets, right? So, Anyway, so I did some work on Crescent Point to see that the year before they bought Shell's Canadian assets for 900 million. So it's kind of the 80-20 rule. They're going to keep their big 80 and they're going to sell off their small 20, right? So, but still, I didn't understand how they're going to knew they were going to get $500 million for non-core assets. So I call up National Bank and I said, how are you going to get how do you know you're going to get $500 million for the assets? They said, oh, it's easy, 2 times cash flow. And I'm like, 2 times cash flow? No way. I said, I've been buying oil and gas stocks and watching the price go from $80 to $88. But 2 times cash flow? I'm like, no way. And he's like, yeah. He says, here, I just sent the comps. Comparables are in your in basket. And so I'm like, this is ridiculous. I said, and I was kind of, stunned, and I'm, couldn't figure out why. And even if you look at during COVID, like a couple trucking industry M&A activity deals were getting done in 4 to 5 times cash flow multiples. Trucking's a tough business, right? And as even like mom and pop businesses that get sold, generally they get sold 3, 4, 5 times cash flow. So I was shocked to see how cheap these companies were trading at and what non-core assets were being sold at. So that's kind of how it all started. So and then this is forward. Okay, so oil and gas, everybody, one world, clean energy, we all want to be there. The reality is today, 90% of the world's transportation business is still running on oil, okay? 60% of US homes are heated with natural gas. 25% of US homes use electrical heat. In the US, 40% of electrical power is natural gas. And that number has continued to go up because if you look 20 years ago, 50% of US electrical power was coal, and they continue to take the coal offline. Coal is now down to 40%. They've been replacing it with nat gas, more environmentally friendly than coal for electrical power. So this fossil fuels are very important to our daily lives. And for Canada, 20% of the TSX S&P is oil and gas stocks, okay? Canada is a big producer of oil and gas. We're 5% of the world's supply, even though our percentage of global GDP is only 1.4%, okay? So it's a big industry for Canada. It's important, and it's important to the world. And yes, we're getting cleaner and greener, but it's a long road. And in between now and then, 2 times cash flow valuations, ridiculous, huge opportunity. So the other thing I should mention too is Canada has the highest environmental standards in the world. So if a world that was locked down, that wasn't running during COVID with airports shut down and airplanes on the ground, people want to travel again. We need more oil and gas to get the world back in action. Why not get it from Canada, which has the top environmental standards in the world? Okay, so we talked about low cash flow valuations. The other thing is there was 5 years of low oil and gas prices before COVID hit. COVID hit March of 2020. Oil went to -30. They would have paid you to put it in your bathtub at home because there was no storage space for all the oil and gas being produced, right? So, it's crazy. And so because of that, there's been no exploration and development activity at all. Exploration and development opportunities in the Canadian oil and gas patch, unbelievably excellent after a 7-year no activity. The other thing too is there hasn't been investment in infrastructure and maintenance and optimizing oil and gas because the industry the prices were so low and they got so bad during COVID because of the airport planes were grounded. So now with prices back up, there's a lot of opportunities. Even if you buy something at 2 times cash flow, there's you can optimize production. So the other thing is private deals are trading more around the 1.5. Sorry, not private deals. Non-brokered deals are trading more around the 1.5 times cash flow. So they're even cheaper than the sale of Crescent Point assets. So my message to everybody in this room would be, look at Canadian oil and gas stocks, look at the valuations. It's the most environmentally friendly country in the world in terms of production. And I think we've got a decade where the world is back in action. And I think it's a good sector to be in from an investment perspective. Okay, so Germany. I feel so sorry for this country. Europe got wooed into cheap Russian nat gas to one of the biggest economies in the world. And Putin, crazy, invaded the Ukraine and created a huge problem for Europe. So both the energy minister and I'm not sure the prime minister, Olaf, came over to Canada. And unfortunately, in Canada, our leader is not aware of what Canada could do to help out other G7 and Western world countries in terms of supplying clean fossil fuels, particularly nat gas. On the good front, though, Canada will have its first LNG facility functioning by 2025. So we do have some capacity coming on. So this is, you guys, this is what the oil and gas map looks like. You can see the producing areas. So it's mainly Alberta, some BC, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. That's a cross section. So basically traditional oil and gas in the shallower areas, you get heavy oil in oil sands. And then over in the foothills, you actually get traditional light oil that's been faulted and folded. And in the foothills, there's a lot of opportunities where you get very prolific oil and gas layers folded. It's typically been a game of the big boys, but there are companies that are specialty in operating in the foothills. So this is the sedimentary section. So the shallow layers, very prolific in terms of providing oil and natural gas, as well as the Devonian. So Argo's first play is Miquon and North Bend. So this is Red Deer, about 50 kilometers east of Red Deer. So let me just go back. So we're the top of the Devonian. We're in the Nisku Reef. So Argo's been, I started with one consultant in February, and we've probably got about 15 different consultants in terms of geologists, geophysicists, operating engineers, reserve engineers, and landmen. So our first project is, it's an exploration play, Miquon and North Bend. It's the Nisku, it's the upper Devonian, traditional light oil, 80% oil, 20% nat gas, traditional vertical drill holes, no fancy horizontal or fracking. And basically, Argo gets 100% of the oil and gas rights subject to a GOR. And I can send you a press release that gives the details on that, because I think I'm going over on time. So anyway, capital, $700,000 a month to drill, tie into pipeline. It's a huge historical producing area, the Nisku area. And we just basically at Miquon, we just tie right into a pipeline. Anyway, so we should be drilling by year end and probably an oil and gas producer by next year. Basically, looking at kind of 100 to 150 barrel per day production, subject to a gross overriding royalty. There's room for 4 vertical drills at Miquon and 2 at North Bend. But we'll start with 1 at Miquon, 1 at North Bend, and with cash flow, continue to drill. So Argo does have gold assets and a big silver zinc project. We're not abandoning them. We just weren't getting the market interest with those assets. That's Wilco, Talbot Lake, Herdman Silver Zinc, 66 million shares out, 9 cents, market cap 6 million. You see the last couple of weeks I've started going out and sending out updates and doing a couple of meetings. And so the end, oil and gas is important. The exploration opportunities abundant. Argo's continued to bid on and look at deals in the 1.5 to 2 times cash flow range. We've been working at it for 8 months. And even though all Argo has is a really good exploration play now, where it's at kind of 100 to 150 barrel per day production, I expect maybe some of our hard work for the last 8 months might pay off in the 4th quarter, even though at this point Argo has no material undisclosed information. 40% institutions, 10% insiders, and 50% retail. And thank you for your time.
I want to get some questions in fact.
And what about Canadian oil and gas? I don't know if you guys saw this.
Jack, go ahead.
First, I want to know what's the primary mining or gas. Second, your drilling is that light crude?
Yeah, it's light oil, yes. Oh, that's okay. So Argo wasn't getting the interest with the mineral gold exploration. So yes, the focus for foreseeable future is the oil and gas opportunity. And some of Argo's investors, like I got a couple of guys that want to finance Argo, think that the valuations in the sector are going to move from 2 times cash flow to more like 3 by year end, 4. So the opportunity for oil and gas is now. It's and the next year I'm very focused on it. Well, no, Canada's getting its first LNG facility. So actually, basically what that does, it opens up the capability for all nat gas producers to supply the LNG plant.
Okay, 2 more questions. Yes, go ahead.
What's the advantage in your mind of having air supply?
So I had hit the wall with one of the projects, an investor interest, and I went to see him, and he said, "We'll take $1 million." Talk to my guy about what price. So we put $1 million in at 9 cents.
There's about $1 million for 9 cents.
Yes.
I basically wanted to ask that question about Xplor, but do you have any other big institutional investors?
Northfield Capital, probably 4%. Excelliant Capital Management, 6%. I'm on the spot.
I'll explain to you later.
Hold on. Frank Holgels has a couple funds out of Germany. They're probably 5%. 40% institutional.
Which is a good number.
Yeah.
10% insiders. Yeah, Frank?
Question, Frank.
I get on the radio that they're looking for people to work in the car side.
Oil sands.
No,
Oil
car
sands.
sands.
Oil sands.
I thought you were mining.
I am. That's mining. That's the mining you're going to do. So I just wondered.
Canada has the highest environmental standards for oil and gas production in the world. Russia's production is going down. The prices at the pump were out of control, and Canada has an opportunity. And the other thing to do is Canada has a lot of light oil. It has a lot of light clean oil. Argo's and the difference is though, Canada's light clean oil tends to be more of a small company business, small to mid-sized company business, rather than a mega company business.
Thank you, Judy, so much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Judy's gonna be around, so take your questions.
Thank you for your time. Yeah. Sorry, I went over.
Our last presentation, I want to get it in right away, and then we can next socialize meeting.
Good job.
What's that? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask her. Sir. Yeah, right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Do I need the?
There you go.
How does it work? Oh, maybe. Okay. Okay.
Everyone, last presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Appreciate it. It's my first time in Montreal, so thanks for having me here. Thank you. I did a hike up the Mount Royal this morning, so I guess I'm a bit punished now, but that's okay. So Heritage Mining, new issuer, went public August 26th of this year, and we'll just speed through it. So this is the full legal disclaimer. I'd refer to that later. So where are we? We're northwestern Ontario, 15,000 hectares, adjacent to Treasury Metals. We got the project. There's 100 plus years of exploration information that's never been incorporated. 176 holes, 20,000 meters of drilling, all narrow, high-grade, confirmed intercepts throughout. Why we like it is when I looked at the data room, and I'm going through, till 2 in the morning, looking at, they've only digitized 31 holes. Group 10 has only done that. So what we did is we consolidated the package. There's 2 option agreements, and now we have everything in 3D. We've digitized all the surface work. We're stitching on the maps as well, and now we're doing a systematic, success-driven exploration program. Some highlights here. So we have 8 tons historic bulk sample of 14 grams. I'll show you where that is. And we also have a wholly owned project in Contact Bay, which is a high-grade gold, copper, nickel, platinum, palladium. But we won't touch on that. Flagship project is Drayton-Black Lake. We'll keep it there. Board and management team and consultants over 100 years. Financial transactions exceed over 15 billion. That's including a few advisors from Barrick, so that's okay. But we have a proven track record in the area with similar geology. So Trelawney, Sale to IM Gold, that's 2 directors that we have now. Bell Creek and Juby Gold Mine, one of our geologists has also taken those 2 to production. So when we initially built the company and I was putting everybody together, it was people first. And I wanted to build and put together a team that can take anything from jump in anywhere from exploration, development, a little bit of production. Everything was expensive at the time, so we'll stick with the exploration for now. Board management, tight capital structure, 32 million shares outstanding. We are I've benchmarked ourselves under 40 companies in Ontario that are doing the similar things that we're doing. And we have, 32 million shares out, 2 million cash in the bank. And we're trading at, in the bottom quartile. And I'll go through that. I got a nice, slide. We can talk about that and how undervalued we are relative to everyone else right now. Market cap is 3.6, and we're on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the ticker HML, which is not too bad because Treasury Metals Limited HML. That's a pretty good symbol. Okay, so what everybody wants to know up front, company snapshot. So we have coverage at Coolor Capital. We have a buy rating at 31 cents. I can send around a link to that, and everybody, feel free to have a look and sign up. Our share price is 12 cents. That was as of yesterday, and it's 10.5 today, so not the greatest. So 3.6 million market cap. Our average 20-day trading volume is 113, which puts us at the top of our 40 comp list, which is fantastic. So we've done a great job there. Also had some selling pressure, hence our share price. Cash position. What we did, which is a little different that you might not see, is I just said, everybody, sometimes people hide behind the capital structure, sometimes they don't. I said, this is filed on CDR. This is our capital structure. So this is filed on CDR. You can see it. I've updated it here for the IPO as well. But you can see every round that we got in, and about 90% of the people that have come in from the 400,000 of the seed round all the way through have cut checks consistently through. So what you're going to see now, I think, in my opinion, now that we've dealt with the overselling, is it's going to be pretty sticky, which is great. We've got it in some great hands. So management directors, including myself, that's 14%. 10-Point Fund, which is a hedge fund out of Couloir Capital. I saw that's an institution out of Toronto, Spartan Asset Management, and he's been in since the seed round. Couloir Capital, who also covers us, they've been in since the founder round. They've cut checks all the way through. Another consistent show. That's an exempt market dealer out of Vancouver. Who am I? Right, I should introduce Peter Schlow, president, CEO, director, bottle washer mostly as well. A lot of bottle washing. I've taken a few companies public, notably Step Gold and Ion Energy. It was on the tail end of Step. I don't want to say that I took Step Gold. I was a little associate. I did a good job there, and then we took Ion Energy public. I was the interim CFO and VP Corp Dev. Raised about 60% of the private book, and then we, took it public. Chartered accountant and chartered financial analyst by background, and I think I updated it here. No, I didn't. So I'm also a licensed prospector in the province of Ontario. So whatever that's a little maybe dangerous, but as I said before, the two directors, our chairman and our director and CFO, Jim Fairburn, both directors of the Trelawney sale to IM Gold from the early days, so we got experience on the high exit. Patrick Sullivan, associate at Osler, also our corporate secretary, significant transactional experience on his end, goes with his firm. They also represent us on the legal side in Vancouver, and we get the friends and family rate, so it's a little less expensive. Ray Carvelis, director of Heritage, and also so his experience is he actually, when I met him, he was doing the mining and consulting build for Step Gold, which was an advanced development story. Now is producing, and they're on their second phase. So he built DRA Global. He was founding director, president, CEO of that, and then he went all the way through. I guess I'm getting the time. So in Mine Builder, good experience. I'll keep it going. Rick Horn, 40 years of experience on our geological team. Stephen Hughes, notable experiences. He was the head of above and underground mine at the Grasberg mine in Indonesia. So total powerhouse when it comes to uploading 3D and drill targeting, which is what we're doing now. Mitch Lavery, as I mentioned before, Juby Gold Mine and Bell Creek through to production. That's Mitch. I've been on, and I've actually had food poisoning, and he's had to pull over a few times on site while we were there. So Mitch and I have gotten to know each other. We're buddies, and it's a great working relationship. I think Rick Horn's wife is probably gonna. I'm in a bit trouble because now the crew's up there for 30 days, and he's over there on Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to deal with that, and I'll take any ideas later. So where are we? We're in northwestern Ontario, as I said. Treasury Metals is here. Our claims are adjacent to that. We've done a small acquisition, but this is our we're in elephant country. We're in elephant country. Rainy River, RBC just came out with a note from sector perform to sector outperform. So they're liking it. I guess they did a site visit up there. So that's the area is starting to develop, and Treasury Metals is going through the permitting process now. So very exciting, and we've been very friendly neighbors. I've talked with the chairman, Bill Fisher, the CFO, Oren. It's all very, so far it's been very nice, good neighbors. There's a group to the north of us that we've shared mob and demob costs to reduce the cost to us. So we're in a great area, and the access is fantastic. There's a highway going through our property. There's a railway going through the top, and there's a power line going through. So close to infrastructure and excellent access is probably a bit of an understatement. This is our catch-all slide. So as I said, 176 holes, 20,000 meters of drilling. Similar geology to what we're seeing at Goldland. Orogenic low gold, VMS, and base metal. A little bit of copper showing up, and we've actually just switched to multi-element. So we did gold, copper. We did gold, copper initially for our check samples, but now that they're running, they're doing really well. We switched back and said, you know what, we're going to do a full multi-element because nobody's done that before, which is what we're here to do. This slide, I love this slide. This is how many companies have been in little pieces of our project all throughout the history of the project, which backs up the 100 years of data. This is all public. You can right-click, go on MLAS, which is the Ontario website, to get all the information on your mining projects. So I put together a list to say, this is how much information is out there. There's a ton that hasn't been looked at, and we're the ones that are looking at it. So we've gone through all the reports, digitized everything relevant, and we're just chewing through it in a systematic, success-driven exploration manner. This is a zoomed-in slide, so overlaying the Treasury Metals and our Drayton-Black Lake flagship project, overlaying with bedrock geology, just simply showing we're on trend. And she introduced the 4 areas that we think show multi-million ounce potential. That's why we're here. Big package, multi-million ounce. Then we're going to zoom in a little bit more. Then you can see is all these little triangles here. That's all the public data and references. So what you see, I mean, I've seen projects where there's 2 of them. We have over 24. I've been to 20 of them. I didn't make it out here. That was a little bit too far. And what we're doing now is we're confirming the historic grade and samples on our key target areas. So what we've had here in the Moretti, so that's 6 kilometers of potential strike length. We've had a 200 grams per ton confirmed sample here. Couple 46s up here as well. We've had a 56 confirmed and the wall rocks running on either side of the vein, which is fantastic. So this is 58 and then we have 46. So we've done our check samples. We've honed in on our target areas and now we're doing a systematic mapping and sampling area of the various zones. So what you'll have here is you'll have, actually I can probably zoom in a little more. We've also flown airborne EM and mag. We paid that during our IPO process or right before. They flew it. We didn't get the report until after, so we had some news kind of right out the gate and how to develop things systematically. It's never been flown the entire property, so we thought if we're going to wave the flag of systematic exploration, I mean, get a chopper up there and fly airborne EM and mag. So Prospect Air did a great job. We've also acquired this area post IPO. I think it was on the day we looked at this and we did a deal with Bounty Gold, so we've acquired that wholly owned as well. Till sampling, not a lot of till sampling. I think everybody wants some wine, but this in and of itself doesn't mean much. But when you overlay it with all the historic information, it really starts to speak. And once what you'll see in the news flows coming out is complementing the till sampling, the trenches, the surface work, the drill holes, and the geophysics to really start mapping out, you know, everything systematically. This is a nice summary. I'm going to put you to sleep here, so we'll just skip over that. But high grade gold tills is very. Pardon?
Geochem's still sampling?
Geochem till sampling. It's pristine high grade gold grains. Geochem.
I was thinking, I've heard of geochem for years.
No, it's not the same thing. It's not the chemical analysis.
Yeah, no, it's just did count. Just count.
Soil.
Yeah, count.
Correct, Pierre?
So yeah.
Go ahead.
Keep going. Okay, thanks. Okay, so this is our primary area. This is what we're most interested in. There's 2 shafts. Alcona Mine is over 100 meters, 3 compartmental. Split Lake is over 100 meters, 2 compartmental. We're trying to get some information on how much came out of there, but it's on patented ground, so a little tough. Alcona Pond Vein, interesting, 800 meters, over 800 meters length, open at both ends, open at depth. Some drilling here that's very attractive. It's going to be our primary area. This is where our check sample came in at 46, and the wall rocks running. Did a few there. We did some check samples here, 46, 26, and 0.006. But point is, gold showing up exactly where it was historically. We're looking at it and we're going at it systematically. There's another 800 meter area with 5 trenches, so we're very interested there. And we're going to want to try to bring this out to, you know, more than a kilometer would be fantastic. A lot of historical narrow high grade hits. And this is the other point of why we're here. So there's historic narrow high grade hits, but nobody's ever done a test all the way through, similar to Goldland, right? So what we want to do is just, you know, make sure this is in the is geo-referenced properly so we can design an accurate drill program and just start plowing some holes through here. We're doing some channel sampling on top as part of the systematic process to save the bank. We do have cash, but we want to, you know, deploy it efficiently. And then so how you can get a gauge is so there's 800 meters northeast southwest, and then this is across. So this is 50 meters. So you got, you know, 200 meters. So if that starts working, that's good. And we have, you know, 3 or 4 different areas that hopefully will turn out like this, which is fantastic. Moretti is just a deep dive into the northwestern area. So this is 6 kilometer strike. Again, all these are public information. And what we did is overlay the drill holes by a year so you can see how relevant it is. Not a lot can be used going forward, but can be used as a guide. We do have historical drill holes that we've, you know, found. There's moss on them. And we're going to try and figure out to see if we can just like throw some back in the lab and make it work. That's part of our exploration program instead of, you know, putting a drill in the ground if we can see what's there. But what you're going to see throughout the entire property is narrow, high-grade confirmed hits from surface. This is if I missed anything, 10 to 30 meter wide structural zones, gold, copper. Moving on. I love this thing. They wouldn't let me put it in the IPO one, but here you go. So this is in the Moretti area. This will be available on our website. Give it till tomorrow. But this is the Moretti outcrop, and this is what you'll see all over the place. I can't say it's the same thing. I'm not allowed to do that, but that's what Treasury Metals and Stockworks look like at the Goliath in their Goliath Complex. So it's looking pretty similar, and we're on trend. So looks interesting. This is the bottom part of our project. So we have another 2 shafts here, and then some high grade in the ounce per ton over here, but I'll skip over that. This is our budget. This is consistent with the 43-101. We're maintaining, we're doing exactly what we said we did. The crew is in the field from September 24th on their third rotation until the snow flies, which is why I'm probably going to get a speeding ticket from Rick's wife on Thanksgiving. Our option agreement, so this is important, maybe I'll slow it down and walk through. So reasonable cash payment over a 4-year earn-in. I've consolidated the 2 option packages here. Shares, reasonable, also back-ended on the agreement. Project spend is also backloaded as well, so we can really see where we are in terms of this. So we've issued the 3 million shares. That gets you your 31.9 million shares outstanding. We are through our 550,000 project spend, so we're all good for this year. And that gets us to a 51% earn-in throughout the period. There's a few fun points here. You get, I think Group 10 gets a dollar per ounce capped at $10 million. So the joke with Group 10 is, I can't wait to hand them that check, because if we find 10 million ounces, that'll be the least of my worries, I think, or our worries, sorry. This is our Contact Bay wholly owned project. There's a high-grade copper, nickel, platinum, palladium here, and then a past producer of a whopping 20 ounces by hand, though, so that's not too bad for back in the day. And Kinross is actively exploring this area in the Redeemer Mine area, if you're familiar with the area. So that's our presentation. And then what I want to do, so thanks for having me, but what I want to do is really, so what I've done is I called a few of my analyst buddies and I told them to pull all the Ontario projects to make a proper comp list, which I think is relevant. So what we've done is the criteria was, are you in Ontario? Do you have a project similar to ours? And is it a leading flagship project? So there's about, I don't know, north of 90 something projects. I've looked at every single one of them and there's 42. It's the schedule's below. And then I broke it out and split it out into quartiles on how we trade, because we want to know, are we a buy? Are we not a buy? So, sorry, I can't say that. Are we interesting?
I'll cut it.
Yeah, sure, thanks. So what we have is very interesting. And then I ranked this. So we have our shares outstanding are 32. So out of the 42 issuers, we are number 39. So we are in the bottom. So we have one of the tightest capital structures in our comps in Ontario, publicly traded with flagship exploration projects. Our market cap is number 26. So undervalued, tight capital structure. Daily average is 12. So we have volume and we've been supporting that. And that's a good thing, because getting in and out of a story in this market is very tough. Our comps don't really trade that well. Nobody has. It's been very tough. Enterprise value, 2 million. Again, 29 out of 42. So bottom rung. Our cash is top tier, top quartile. And our project size is number 3 out of our project base. So what we have is a great cash position, good project size, great access to area. I mean, I don't know, we're trying to build something that everybody wants, right? So there you go. This is the best we could do. And then we have our fun thing. I went a little nuts here and we did Twitter, Instagram, and we're doing it really well. And we got a big social outreach. So there you go. Thanks so much for your time and enjoy the wine.
Everybody just give me 1 more minute.